Hello, checkity check, check, check. Hello. Oops. In the chat box, if you're going to drop chat. Try to spell things right. Not my forte. Yay. Hi, Jean. I'm so glad you're here. We will give Kathy and Colleen a little bit more time to finish up. I am a minute or two early. Oh, thank you so much, darling. Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Sharon. I know some people may be getting an ad because we get ads every now and again. Hey, Bobo. Linda, Mrs. Gigi, Lisa. I'm so glad you guys are here. Vanessa. I almost feel weepy. Leslie, Linda, and if I miss anyone, I totally apologize. I'm not the best at paying attention to my own chat. I do okay at other people's live shows, just not so much at mine. Okay? Happy right, Kimberly. Oh, who am I? Who am I, you may ask? Hey, y'all. APG Jamie here. And I can't tell you how happy I am to be here. Hey, Mary, Terry, Debbie, Judy. Well, I'll tell y'all, weird story. My husband and I, since he got the stem cell transplant several years ago, we've been very cautious out in public because when you get a stem cell transplant, they totally wipe out all your, all the good cooties you have in your body. They wipe everything out, and then you get new stem cells, and you have to build up immunity. And so ever since then, we've been more cautious than the average Joe, I guess. And so when the first outbreak started happening, we started wearing masks. Okay, just because that's our protection zone. And we've not gone out much. I wouldn't say not at all, just not much at all. And my daughter wanted to go out and meet with us after Christmas last Sunday. So we did. And she unfortunately had not been feeling well for a couple days, but neglected to tell me, you know how your kids are. I'm just saying, you know how your kids are. Brenda, Linda, Janice, Misty, Elaine, Tracy, G3, CB, Dot, Sherry, Scrappy Girl. Anyway, so she still felt bad on the Monday after we had brunch together and called me Monday afternoon to tell me that they had tested positive for the plague. Hey, Paint Girly Lori and Julie and Cherielle and Kathy Arbor and Barbara and Nell and anybody else I overlooked, I apologize. So anyway, we were feeling fine, but when she told me that, we started taking zinc. Hi, Peggy, Elaine, Dale, Kathleen. Anyway, we started taking zinc and everything was fine. We were feeling fine. We're like, And in order for husband to go back to work after Christmas, he had to go get tested. So he went and got tested on Wednesday, and his test was negative. Well, that was good. So, guess who got sick Wednesday afternoon? This girl. Hey, Joy. Katina. Oh, my names, y'all. Ann, Darlene, Devin, Sylvia, Barbara Clark. So anyway, I had 102 fever for about 24 hours, and I was having a hard time keeping it down with the aspirins and stuff. And I was still taking my zinc, I was being a real good girl, and I'm like, And then I started feeling better. And my husband says, well, we got to get you tested because I can't be at work if you're positive. And I'm like, oh my God, y'all. Marion, Cheryl. So I go down and get my test yesterday. Was it? Yeah, it was yesterday. Today's Friday? Yeah, yesterday. And I'm positive to have the plague. And because I was feeling better yesterday, I stopped taking the zinc. You know, because the instructions say when you feel better, you can stop taking it. So I stopped taking it. This is not part of the protocol, you know, care system for all the plague and all that junk. Okay. And today I'm feeling a little slow. My battery is running down quick. So I'm back on the zinc, which makes absolutely everything taste terrible. Before that, you know, yesterday everything tasted fine, but it's the zinc that's knocking out my flavor buds. Fever's gone. Husband can't go to work. And I'm kind of staying away from him as much as possible. I'm wearing the mask in the house because, you know, your doggies can get it too. So I'm avoiding everybody that I can and all that kind of good stuff. You have zinc gummies and they're great. Yeah, my zinc, I need to make more mods. Okay, let's see if I can do that. Report, add moderator. Surprise, Sylvia, you're a moderator. Hey, Function, you're about to be a moderator too. Ta-da! Brenda D. Anyway, I feel okay. Okay, I wouldn't say I'm 100%. I thought I was doing good yesterday at 80%, hence the reason I stopped taking the zinc. And today I'm about 65, 70. So yeah, look at all those blue shirts. Oh my goodness. Woo-hoo, y'all. So anyway, I'm sure I'll be fine. No worries. But I do appreciate and accept your prayers. I am a big, faithful believer in that. And well, thank you so much, everyone. I so appreciate everybody's kindness and prayers. And I do unfortunately have a sad announcement. And please send your prayers to Barb Owen. Her husband did pass away yesterday. And if you have her address, please send her cards and your love. And if you don't have her address, you can forward them to myself or CB, and we will make sure Barb gets them. And as you know, our Lisa Conway had lost her husband like a week ago as well. So, anywho's, I'm okay. I'm going to blame the cootie for putting me on edge. Okay, that's enough of that. And hey, Lisa, CB, did I talk to you already? Peggy, Marion, Jan, Terry, Beth, Linda, Patricia, Stad, Kelly. I'm so happy to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. You know, it really makes me happy to know I'm not here by myself. Whispering Goldrin. So, anyway, hang on. Okay. So this is the New Year's Eve Streamathon. Okay. Now I have been originally saying that Gene the Musical Scrapper started it, but I was corrected a little bit ago at Kay Berg and Colleen's show that Oz Grand Jen started it. Okay, unless I misheard that, which could be as well. And that Gene picked it up from her. And now the Mary Altier has taken it over, for which we are all super grateful. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. So anyway, and it's a live hop. It started at, gosh, what time was that? 5 o'clock, 5:30 this morning, early at Mary's. And then we went to Dee Dee's, and then we went to K-Berg and Colleen's, and now we're here. And then after me will be Tanya McGuire, okay? And Lisa will be on with Tanya McGuire on Tanya's channel. So, this is my typical schedule. And sorry for the sniffles, y'all. Just in case anybody wants to take a snapshot. Snap! 2012 when Jen did it. Okay. I knew we'd been doing it for a while. I think this is only my 3rd year to do it. Something like that. Anyway, this is me. That's where you're at. Okay. So, I know y'all going to be disappointed that we're not painting a t-shirt. We're not going to put me in a jar either. But I do have a jar. Y'all. This is one of the little plastic jars from the Dollar Tree, which is no longer $1, y'all. Okay, it's $1.25 now, I think. Anyway, that's what this is. It's a little jar, plastic jar. You could, if you wanted to, use a glass one if you're going to do this project, which you guys might be inspired to do this one. As you can see, that just peeled off real quick. I'm not going in the jar this year, y'all. We've done that before. It's $1 plus. I guess that is what it's called now. So this is the little foam thing that's inside the lid. And I'm going to take that out. We'll put that back because I have prior experience. I tested my project, y'all. So proud of me. I tested my project and found out that hot glue does not glue to this very well at all. So to remedy that, we're going to poke some holes. And I'm going to lay this with, this is a lid off of, looks like a to-go container. Use a little other little lid, depending on the size of your jar. We're making one of these being a pin cushion. Isn't it cute? I love it. Here, Tanya. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so you're going to need a pokey tool, which is not in my thing. Where's my tool? Oh, for heaven's sake. I had everything ready, y'all. I think Molly took my pokey tool. I don't think it's in that one. Well, for heaven's sakes. This one is really skinny and it might bend, so, but we'll have to use it because I've lost my other one. Anyway, this is kind of the edge of it, that where it snaps onto your other bowl. And I want this lip, I don't know if you can see the lip. Can you see the lip? This lip to be facing down so that we kind of have a little lip on that side, a little divot. And I'm going to center-ish it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, see, it bent. I knew it would. Let me get an awl. I know where that is. Well, it's still there. I know where it is. Rummaging. Rummaging. There it is. Typically, the thicker pokey tool will handle it, but we've misplaced. So I'm going to use just a regular awl, or you can use a nail. And by nail, I mean a hammer and nail nail. Did it go through? Almost. Okay, that went through. That's just one hole. I need at least one more. And that one went through, and I'm going to go ahead and put another one. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want this to be on there pretty good. I don't want it to slide around, which is how I found out the hot glue didn't hold it very well. Okay, so we got that. I'm going to use some embroidery floss because when I did my trial project, I used regular heavy quilting thread, and that ended up breaking on me. So embroidery floss or baker's twine, something like that. You can use a metal wire. We're just going to attach this part to the lid, which now has big giant holes, which wasn't necessarily the aim, but that's what we got. And I just threaded a big needle. You want one with an eye big enough to accommodate whatever thread you're using. Technically, you could use a string or twine or whatever. Like I said, I'm doing this because I don't want my plastic lid to slide around too much. Now I've taken it off the needle, and I'm just going to tie it, baby, tie it. Just like that. And we're not going to even worry about the threads on top. You can worry about it if you want to, but I'm not going to. And I'm just going to smash down a little sharp edge, just a little. It really won't matter much because most people don't put their hands inside there. But we kept our little foamy stuff, whatever that stuff is, and we put that back in there. So now we have that. That's our mushroom part. Well, it's going to be. See, on that one I used wire. Just like that. Now, put that back over there. We're going to take, I have cotton muslin. That's in the UK, it's called, I think it's called calico. We tend to call calico a printed cotton fabric. How much do you need? At least enough to cover around that with a little poofy, okay? As you can see, it's not round. I'm just going to cut it right there. We're going to rip it at. Toss that one behind you. I'm using the, you can use a printed fabric if you want to. I don't have one I wanted to use. That's why I'm using this one, because we can paint it, because I painted this one. Okay, I painted that red. So we're going to take this, our lid thing, and we're going to set it aside. We're going to kind of round at our fabric. Round at. It doesn't have to be totally round. It's semi-rustic. We just want to kind of roundish. But you can see that is way not roundish. But it's fine. It'll be perfectly fine. Y'all know my projects. They are perfect each and every time. I'm going to take a generous amount of the embroidery floss, because we're going to do some slow stitching, as I used to call hand stitching. Okay, how much we got? That's probably good. And most of y'all, and we're just going to use a straight running stitch. And a running stitch is just where you go in and out, in and out, in and out. You can double your thread if you want to. You don't have to. I'm going to tie a knot, in which case I lick my fingers, which I ought not have done because I got the plagues. And you wrap your thread around your index finger. You roll your thumb down your index finger and it forms this little wobbly thing. Grab it with your middle fingernail, slide that, and now you have a nice tidy little knot. Because I'm an old-time sewer, I use a thimble. This is just a little plastic thimble. And now we're just going to grab some fabric. We're just going to go in and out, in and out. And this is going to be the most tedious part of the whole thing. Because we're going in and out. I don't know. How long is it going to take us? And I'm not making tiny stitches either. They don't have to be tiny. You don't necessarily want half an inch. But anyway. I'm looking at chat, y'all. I remember a time when I could watch TV and crochet at the same time and never miss a stitch. Hey, thread and glue. Do any of y'all crochet or knit? I never did learn how to knit. And I'm sure that will not be on my list of things to try. And you may be noticing I am not even getting the same stitch length. It's okay. We're not even going to see it. So I'm going to look at chat. G3 crochets. Darlene said I. I loved hand quilting, and I hand pieced and hand quilted, I don't know, about 25 quilts at least. And I couldn't even tell you how many Afghans I've made, and scarves and hats and little animal critters and all that. Just tons of them. In fact, that was some of the first items I ever sold. And that was as a teenager, which I was just thrilled about. My mother was so good. She made those fancy dolls. Y'all remember those fancy dolls with the big ruffle? I would say Barbie dolls, but they weren't Barbie dolls, but they were kind of like that with the big roughly crocheted dresses. My mother made those. Oh my gosh. She made a lot of those. I never had one, but she made them. And since my hand issues and elbow issues, well, actually, I should say nerve in your hands and elbows and all that, I can't do repeated things for too long, and I can't crochet more than like 5 minutes at a time because you know that really hurts. And likewise, doing this with the needle will get to be just a little too much. And I'm kind of trying to go in around, and I know this is not a circle, and it's okay. Because not all mushrooms in nature are perfectly round. Y'all have seen that, haven't you? Mm-hmm. If I've seen it, you've seen it. Oh, goodness. I'm so happy everybody's here. Thanks so much for being here, y'all. And I hope everyone's had a decent holiday. Boy, that's a really big, that's too big. That doesn't make me happy. That's like a half an inch to an inch, 3/4. Oh, pull that one out. We'll just try that one again. Everything, it was like the best Christmas we ever had. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. Nobody came over. It was nice and quiet and peaceful. We talked to some of the kids on the phone. And that was that. Oh, I know. I was supposed to show y'all. My daughter gave us a Texas-shaped cutting board. I meant to show that to you, but I have since discombobulated myself. We're getting there. Couple more inches to go. Yeah, was. People are nice for short periods of time. Just saying. Okay, careful. Don't lose the tail. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple stitches past where our original knot was. I'm not going over the knot. I'm just going past it just a little bit. Okay, so now we got that. Well, that didn't take that long, did it? A couple hours? Not too bad. So we got that. We're going to lay that over there. Now we're going to get some stuffing. I don't have any polyfill stuffing, you know, the fancy store-bought stuff, but I do have an old couch cushion pillow that sacrificed some of its stuffing, and it's going right there. How much do you need? I don't know. How much do you want? Probably about that much, probably. Okay. Now we're going to take this. Leave your needle in if you want to. You can pull it out, but you'll have to rethread it. And then we're just going to gather that thread up by pulling, which is why you want the the embroidery floss, because it is going to be way less apt to break. And you just keep pulling it tighter and tighter, that we end up with something like that. Okay. Remember, we're not looking for perfection, because that's somewhere else. Now these long corners I have here, I'm just going to trim them off. If you do this, be careful. Don't cut through your thread. Don't do that. Okay. If I'd have started with the circle, it would have been better. But no, we didn't want to. And I do have my air conditioner off today. It has been hot. In case y'all haven't heard that about us, we have been having record highs. It's not that uncommon to be barefoot and shorts for Christmas, but record highs is not so much. Okay. Now, I'm wondering if that's going to be enough stuffing. I think I'm going to grab just a little bit more. If you have a printed fabric, if you're going to make one of these and you have a printed fabric, you certainly can use it. I didn't have a printed fabric that I wanted to use. Okay. So I just stuff that in there, and I'm kind of smooshing it around with my hands to get it worked up in there. I would say corners, but technically there's no corners on something round. Now we're getting our lid. That's the one to our bottle jar. We want that to face up, and we're going to tuck in the round plastic part. Tuck it in, grab our thread end. We'll make my tail just a little longer. You want to kind of squish it down and then pull your thread. You don't want your mushroom so overstuffed that you can't, that it doesn't want to fit in there very well. You're going to have to work the little gathers around. We doing okay? Anybody got any questions? Should be a pretty nice, simple. It's not an overly long project, I don't think. Am I pulling it the right way? Yeah, there we go. Now, if you get here and you think you want more stuffing, stuff some more in there. Because I think I want some over here-ish. Just going to work it in there. Okay. Now, if you want to fold that over so that you have a pretty edge, you certainly can do that if you want to. Really, Thread and Glue says if you use hair in a pin cushion, it will actually help keep your pins and needles sharp. Well, I had no idea. Okay. Is it perfect? Absolutely yes. Now I'm pulling my loose edge, my raw edge of the fabric up around the jar lid because that's what I want to do. You don't have to if you don't want to. A lot of leeway in all this stuff. Now you're going to have to hold it tight in your dominant hand, whichever one is your dominant hand, as you work the gathers around, because that's why you want a heavier thread like the embroidery thread, because you're actually pulling pretty hard on it. Because you want to tuck that all in under there. Okay. I'm going to put my thimble back on because now I'm ready to make some an anchoring stitch, which is where I grab some of this over here and put my needle through those little pleat things, those doohickeys. And that should help anchor. And then I'm going to come around and I'm going to do it again over here. If I can get my needle through there, because it is kind of a big needle. Come on. No, don't poke in that part. Okay. I'm going to come around and do it again. Because what you're trying to do is encase just that inner plastic lid inside there. Now I'm going to come back and go, hang on, let me pull that little lip out. Now I'm going to come back and go the opposite direction with my anchoring thread. So I can pull it back this way. And you can be as clean and fancy with this as you want. I'm going rustic because that's what I am most interested in lately. All right. My husband's been watching some guy on some, I'm going to say, gambling channel. You know those machines where you drop the quarters and they drop down and then it pushes the other quarters out through the slot opening? Anyway, he's been watching that. And that guy says, all right, everybody. Okay, so I think I'm going to call that done. And I'm just going to tie a knot. And by tie a knot, I mean just kind of wiggle my thread around and loop it through itself, and whatever's the best way you can get it tied off so that everything doesn't come slipping out. Excuse me. And then I'm going to wiggle my needle in there like that. Poke it out. And we're getting there. All right. And now I'm going to cut just the thread. Be careful not to cut your fabric. And now the sewing is done. But you can take your needle and poke it in and work your stuffing around if you want to, or not. And of course, if you start with a rounder shape, you'll end up with a rounder mushroom than what I have. Okay. And this little raw edge slipped back under there. It happens. Okay. Now I'm going to get my fancy silicone rubber finger from the Dollar Tree, Dollar Plus store. We have some hot glue over here. Hang on, let me get that chunks off of there. Is this a low temp or regular temp? I have no idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my raw edge away from the metal jar lid, and I'm just going to tuck some hot glue in there just to get the fabric stuck to it. I should use this on this finger. Or wait, we have more. Let's get out some more, because hot glue is hot, y'all. All right. All right, everybody. So, is this part necessary? Probably not. And look, I'm not even putting it, using, there, put it on the thumb like that. All right. I don't know if this is necessary or not. I did it the first time, so I'm going to do it this time. Because I like the raw edge. Come on, get in there. On the fabric sticking on the jar lid like that. Whereas on this one, I have more of a finished edge, which is okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think this time I wanted the raw edge. So I'm going to trim this one just because I don't want it taller, or I don't want it to get caught in my lid when I put my lid back on the jar. Pull that raw edge back out. It's got tucked up in there some reason. Kind of hard to do that when you have rubber thumbs on. Silicone thumbs. Okay, stick in there. Okay, looking at chat. Can you believe it? Crafting House Kitty 10. Hello. Hello, everybody. Anybody I missed? My apologies. I am not the best live stream reader and ARTin person. Dee Dee is, though. Did y'all see her show this morning? Really fun coloring stuff. And by coloring stuff, I mean colors. Different colors in the art journal and the crafting journal. And okay. I think that looks okay. So I'm going to set the hot glue aside. We're not done with it, but I'm going to set it aside. Okay. Pull my little thumbs off. Set that over there. So now we have this. You can kind of mess with it. Like I said, if you want it stiffer, puffier, you can do that. If you want it smaller, you just make your little initial fabric shape smaller. But I think I'm okay with that. Now, here's where you guys come in. Hey, Janet Merle. Do we want to make another red one, or do we want a different color? Thanks, Sylvia. You're awesome. If we want a different color, now would be the time to say so. I mean, I'm good either way, because on this one, I forgot to use my GAC 900, which is a fabric additive stuff you add to your acrylic paint, so your acrylic paint doesn't get hot. I don't want black, Popo. Come on, girl. Really? We could use black. I mean, you know, mushrooms can be any color you want them to be. Any color you want. So besides red, we only have black. Oh, Sylvia, always wanted to be a mom. I know. Blue shirts are important people. Turquoise. Blue or purple. Oh, now we're getting in the color zone. Aqua or turquoise. That's what I was thinking. I kind of like the turquoise idea. So we're going to grab out. That says it's turquoise. Now, y'all, my craft paint, gold. Oh, gold. Real gold. Is pretty old and snotty-ish. So don't be creeped out. I'm going to get a fancy palette. Here's my fancy palette. Okay. And I'm going to put some of this Ocean Breeze. If it comes out, it's not going to come out. There it goes. We're going to put some Ocean Breeze. And yeah, I do recommend if you're going to paint your fabric to make your mushroom top before you paint it. Because it's easier to sew that way. Okay, it just is. And that's the turquoise. And now we're going to put some of the fabric painting medium. It will keep our acrylic paint from getting hard. Because what it did on that, Golden's not the only one that makes the fabric painting medium. There are other brands. Probably Deco Art probably makes one. Anita's paint, Anita's makes one as well. And you really do want it, because when you stick your needles and pins in here, if it's hard like my first one is, it's going to leave a hole. So that's bothersome. If it bothers you. Right, everybody. So we're just going to kind of mix at them. We're not going to over mix. And we're just going to paint. I'm going to use my little side thing. And I'm painting just the top. I'm not going to paint the bottom part. You can if you want to. All right. Now, hopefully this will dry in our allotted time. Because we've got an hour, and that means we've got, well, not quite an hour, but close to an hour. That means we've got about an hour left, because everybody's was getting like 2 hours for their live segments for the New Year's Eve Streamathon. And I do want to say we are, and I know I'm not speaking just for myself, we are grateful for the year we've had. And we look forward to the upcoming year. That is true. Okay, now we're just painting it all around. This is really kind of a squarish mushroom, isn't it? It'll be all right. Perfectly fine. And I'm trying to get into some of the little pleats we got going on. I'm not really stressing about it because, you know, if it's a masterpiece, it's a masterpiece. And if it's not, it's not. As long as it's making me happy. And so far, it's making me happy. Making the first one made me happy enough that I'm like, well, let's do that again. Because why not? Hopefully it won't take too terrible long for that to dry. I know I'm going under the edge some, just not overly much. And there are a lot of other streamers in the chat room. So there may be new to you people or ode to you people. Ode. Okay. So we're going to set this aside and the paint thing aside. So that can dry. And I'm going to go drop my brush in the water. Because we're through with the painting for now. Well, I think we're through with the painting. Okay. Now what do? Well, we wait forever for that to dry. Well, we take a piece of cardstock. Because if we're going to make a pin cushion jar thing, we need to have some little thread cards in there. If we're giving this away, I mean, if you're making this for yourself, you have spools of thread, but if you're going to make this as a gift for somebody else, you should probably give them a little bit of thread. So we got that. I just used a Fisker's punch to punch out those shapes. You can punch out whatever shape you want to. Going to get a little glue, just a little wet glue. It's the Art glitter glue, so it dries pretty quick. We're just going to stack 2 together. All right, be nice now. 2 together, so it'll be just a little heavier. If you wanted to, you could punch out plastic like milk jug or, I don't know, acetate or something, I guess. I reckon you could. All right. Hey, Christopher, good to see you. We're having New Year's Eve Streamathon, and I have a list in the description box below that gives the schedule. And the schedule is in Eastern Time, US, so there'll be people hopping around the clock through New Year's. And now I just got a piece of black thread, and we're going to be fancy, and we're just going to wrap it around there until we think we've given them enough to sew a button on with, if they should happen to need to sew a button on. Or you could use whatever kind of fancy thread or fibers you wanted to. And that's enough for demonstration purposes. And I'm going to cut just a little slit right there so that my thread will catch in that and won't come unraveled from off our little thread card now that we made a little thread card. Now they need some white thread too, because you need white and black thread. Oops, gotta hold it. Okay. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. So it's already New Year's there, or it's New Year's Eve? Is it already tomorrow, Christopher? Okay, so now we have a black and white thread card. We can put that in there. And what else did I have in here? If you got little tiny scissors, you could put them in there, I reckon. I have a measuring tape that can go in there. Oh, look, I have a spare thimble. I love them kind of thimbles, y'all. Here's a, just pour it out. Here's a piece of ribbon measuring tape. Here's a khaki colored thread thingy. Here's some tiny scissors. Down in there. Needle thread or doohickey. Some safety pins. Miscellaneous buttons and whatnotage. Because, you know. Now, if you wanted to, you can actually even decorate your bottle if you wanted to. I'm not going to, because I like it like this. My initial prototype, I decorated the bottle and I used a glass bottle, but I decided I didn't like it. So I don't even know what happened to it. So there we have that. And we're waiting for that to dry. While we are waiting for that to dry, yeah, we have about an hour. About. I'm going to show you something else you can make. Same lines, along the same lines, a pin cushion. It's a personal private pin cushion like this. And you can wear it on your finger. Or you could wear it on your thumb, whichever one, or you could even make one to go on your wrist. Take whatever bottle top you want to use. They're all basically the same depth. I think I'm going to use the light blue one. And I need my cutting board. And I need craft knife. Okay. Now your best bet, if you're going to make a ring or a bracelet, is to use the flat elastic. This one happens to be 1/4 inch. You can use the round one, but it doesn't hold as nice as the flat. Okay. Now you have to be careful. We're using a sharp tool with your precious fingers. Okay. So, thanks, y'all. So now you take your craft knife and we're going to make 2 slits, not in the middle, but parallel to each other. Okay, it's not that easy, but you have to be careful because you don't want to cut yourself. Do you? I don't. I don't want to cut myself, and I don't want you cutting yourself because I don't need anybody going, oh, APG told me to do that. Now I don't have a thumb anymore. It takes a minute to cut through. If you got a like a y'all know that thing that melts, a soldering iron? Flip the heart, y'all. That thing that melts metal. If you had a soldering iron, you could melt through the plastic. On the outside. And you want to cut away just a little sliver of that plastic because you want your flat elastic to go through there. Hang on, I'll show you just a minute. Now this is just the one little slit so far. This is much fun to watch as hand sewing. Actually, hand sewing can be interesting to watch. Okay, that may be good. Can we see, sorta, the hole, sorta? Okay. Oh, the tip of a hot glue gun. That's going to make a round hole, but that would work for you. If you don't have the flat one, you can certainly use a round one. Oops. Oops. I'm glad it wasn't my finger. Careful, everybody. You're going to want, I don't want to cut through on that side. I'm going to go from the inside again. You want a little bit, well, my tip broke off. No wonder that doesn't want to cut. Replace my fabulous blade. Now I have a, oh, watch out, craft a lynch. Okay. Try it again. That's better. You want space between them. All right, hang on. Hang on. Takes a minute, y'all. Or 5. Depends on how long a minute is for you. You need it big enough to get your elastic through. And technically, you don't have to make a ring or a bracelet or whatever. You can just make just a plain old lid, which is what this one is. And this one's really old. That's one I made when I was a wee little girl. I may not have been wee, but I was a little girl. Okay, hang on. Trying to get out this extra bit of stuff. I was such a wee little girl, we weren't allowed to use sharp knives. If you couldn't cut it with a pair of scissors, you weren't cutting it. Mama was. Which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Let me come through on this side, see if I can't. Well, you're either up awfully early, Christopher, or you've stayed up awful late, man. This coming from the girl that goes to bed at 9 p.m. Pretty much on the dot every night. That's still not quite gappy enough. Okay, now you want to make sure you don't have anything sharp on this side. If you do, you can trim it off or use a fingernail file emery board thing. because that's the part that's going to be next to your skin. Okay. Now we have that. Hopefully this will fit. We're going to take our flat elastic. We're going to try to make it go through that hole. Will it fit? No, I need more. I need more length. All right. Hang on. That one needs to be bigger than this one, or longer. It needs to be longer. Come on. Has everybody enjoyed the Streamathon so far? Because I have. I wasn't in chat because I was watching on TV as I laid in the boudoir. And as you know, you can't really chat when you're watching on TV. And I would like to invite everybody to come back after the Streamathon and leave comments on everybody's shows. Okay, that'll fit. Now I'm going from the inside of the lid. Come on. You worked on the inside. Really? This is why the round would be good. All right, try it again. There we go. There we go. We got one. Now we're going to go back to the inside like that. Okay. We've not cut our elastic from our doolaller yet. I'm going to make it about like that to start with, because I'm going to make one to wear on my wrist. I actually have little baby wrists, so now we're going to go back and use our leftover bit of embroidery thread, and put another knot in it. And we're going to take our two ends. That's going to be too loose on me. I already know. And we're going to put our two loose ends together like that so that they overlap each other. And we're just going to sew through. And again, this does not have to be fancy stitching because it's going to be hidden. We just want to hold our ends together so they don't slide out. Could you tie a knot? Sure. But then your knot's going to be in the way of using it as a pin cushion. And you don't have to do a whole lot of stitching, just a little. Because I think that's all I'm going to do. And now I'm going to tie it off. It's where you go through underneath one of the stitches. So that you got a weird looking loopy thing. And then I'm going to go back in this side, and I'm just going to pull it tight. And I'm going to do it one more time. And all the parents hated me sewing the patches on the Cub Scouts Oh, close your cap. Clear out nice, for heaven's sakes. On the kids' scout uniforms, because when they had to move them to a bigger uniform, they couldn't get them off. Because I was a good sewer. See, that's way too big for me. But that's okay. All right? It's okay. So now we have that. He doesn't want to stay standing up. That's all right. We can get some of our stuffing. And we're going to find a scrap of this. Back to our muslin. We're going to cut out a square-ish. We'll round it, but I think we'll round it more better than the last time. We'll see. Could happen. I'm still not looking at chat, y'all. I'm just, not a good live chatter. Chatter. Jonna, Holly. Anybody I missed, I apologize. You don't need to sew this one unless you want to. You just take your little batting, your little polyfill, whatever. Stuff it in there around that. You're going to kind of fold it over just a little bit. Hot glue gun. Just a touch, because it's probably going to melt your fiber feel, because, whoa, that's all running away from me. Who saw that coming? Hot glue. Hold it. Okay. Tuck it in. With a little dot. Hot glue. That's what you got all these fingers for. There's that thing. I didn't have this kind of a hard time the first one I made, or the second, or third, or fourth one. I'm going to blame it on the plague. Okay. Dot. Okay. That really burnt that finger. See how red it is? Okay. Just a dot. Hold on. It cools. Hot glue does not dry because it's not wet. Okay. Go with another dot over here because it came undid. And hold it for it to cool. Now we're going to fill this part up. Well, not fill it up, but we're putting some glues in there. Oh, it's popping apart. Quit popping apart. Maybe I should have recorded this part. All right. Now we're going to tuck it in. You need to kind of hold it. Now it's going to be hot because it's hot glue. Unless you have a low temp glue gun, which I don't think this one's a low temp because that's pretty hot stuff. It's still hot because I can feel it. All right. I burnt that finger, y'all. I kissed it. Now it's better. Okay, so now we're done with the hot glue. So move that aside and unplug it. Okay. Oh, no, we're not done. We're not done with the hot glue, people. Anyway, now you have a pin cushion you can wear on your wrist if you make it the proper size for your wrist. Or if you make a shorter one, it can go on your finger or your thumb. You got your pin cushion right there, and it's just with you everywhere you go. Okay? Okay. Or you cannot make it on a loop thing and just have it right there. And that will fit down in your little pin cushion jar too. So we'll set that aside. Set that aside. Let's look at our mushroom. Oh, it's still pretty wet. Oh, it's still pretty wet. Okay, I got to wipe off my hand now. Where's the baby wipe? Where's the baby wipe when you need one? In the baby's room. Okay. So we're going to have to use the heat gun to dry that up because we're not finished. We're getting there. We're almost there. Where's the heat gun? So y'all get ready for some noise. See, if I hadn't used the GAC, it would have been dry already. So Holly doesn't like stuff around her neck. Oh, goodness, Holly thinks she might have been strangled in a prior life. I think I had my head cut off one time. Just saying. Like I said, the purpose of using the fabric painting medium is so that this stays soft. Now, of course, if you make one of these at home, you can just, let it dry over a weekend or overnight or over whatever. You want to gather some white buttons or whatever color. You don't have to use white. I used white on this one. I'm actually looking at chat. I make people laugh. Well, I can't help it. If you're not having fun, why are you wasting your precious time doing it? Okay, now I'm going to pick that up. Because you don't want to use the heat gun too much. Remember, with the polyfill stuff in there, and that is a plastic, and it will melt if it gets too hot. Okay, now it's not 100% dry, but it's dry enough. So I have already picked out some white buttons. Now, if you want to, you can put thread in your little buttons so that they look like they've been sewn on. Or you don't have to. And they can all be the same button. Or they can be all different buttons. Heck, you could even use different color buttons. Okay? Okay, now unwind those two things. Get the hot glue gun back. Get a finger before you burn yourself. All right. Now decide where you want to put your buttons. And squeeze down some hot glue drop. Stick a button on it. Be careful, they're hot glue threads. Let go. And just put them wherever you want them. I'm not a hot glue gun person, So I don't really use one that well. I'm more of a wet glue kind of girl, not a melted glue kind of girl. Oh, that one's running down. Careful. Do you have to use hot glue? No, you could use a wet glue. Thanks, Sylvia. Holly, I'm sure you're not the only one. You can use tiny buttons. You can use big buttons. You don't have to use buttons. But because I was making a mushroom, I thought, you know, it would be cute. Sometimes oh, look out. Hot, hot. That was hot. Sometimes I like cute. I'm not necessarily a cute person, but sometimes I like cute. All right, get on there. Some of these are antique. Some of them are just old. Not everything old is antique. I'm going to get these threads, hot glue threads off of there. You want to put your buttons in a pattern around the top of your mushroom? Okay. You can do that. You don't want to? Then don't do that. Oh, that gets cute. Put one right there. You can have as many you want. I want one over here. Some of these have a little texture going on them. Some of them don't. Some of them are very plain. This one's got thread stuck in it, which I'm going to pull out because none of the rest of them had thread, so I don't want any of them to. So I can get that cut off. Where's that craft knife? Take that finger off. No, don't cut the finger off. Just take the silicone finger off that's supposed to keep you from getting burned, but didn't because I used the wrong finger. All right, all right. You can use more or less. We're almost done, y'all. I know, it's pretty stinking fastish. Pretty fast for me. Where do we want that one? There, there. Are we even going to use that one? I think we'll put it right there. Okay, now we're done with the hot glue because I'm out of buttons. Well, I'm not out of buttons. Not out of buttons. Piece of something. Close the craft knife. Now we're putting the hot glue away. And we're going to unplug it. Because we're done with it. Now we need to pull away all our little hot glue threads. Unless you like them, in which case, if you like them, you can leave them on there. After all, you're the boss of your mushroom. Okay. That's not totally dry. And I may not have mixed in enough of the fabric stuff. But we are essentially done. Because this is what you do. Just like that. Ta-da! Ah! If you want to fancy all this up, you certainly can. There's no law that says you have to, and there's no law that says you don't have to. Okay? Everything is open. That's it. That actually went a little faster than I thought it would. We have our secondary project that we did too. It's all nice and cool. our pincushion bracelet. And then we have our prototype. Well, it's not really prototype. Pincushion ring. Well, I'm really made that a little big for my wrist, but I've got tiny wrists, y'all. Thanks, Sylvia. Thanks, Function. Hey, Joy, Terry, Marion, Shauna, Shelly, Darlene, Mary, Devin, Function, Shelly. I'm so happy everybody's here. I appreciate your company. I have certainly needed it. And y'all pray for each other. If you're not a prayer, then send positive and good thoughts and vibes to each other. We do not have enough good lately in the world. Hey, Vanessa. 3 dogs, girl. How are you? I haven't seen you in ages. It's good to see you, right? Right. We, Sarah. Kimberly. Shelly. Did I already say Shelly? CV. Thank you so much for your prayers, Dot. I so appreciate everyone. Like I said, I did not use the fabric medium on here. Therefore, this one is hard and it leaves holes. But this one, hopefully I got enough of that stuff on there. It doesn't want to poke because it's still dampish. But there you go. A cute little pin cushion for your slow stitching, okay? Or a bracelet or a ring. Okay, so you can just be sewing along, or it's interchangeable. It can go on either hand, depending on what your dominant hand is, y'all. So I will let you go, and we can actually just take what? Almost practically a 30-minute break before we get over to Tanya. Unless Tanya wants to start early, I reckon she could. I so appreciate each and every one of you. Your thumbs up, your likes, which are the same thing. Hi, your kind comments. Did I say that? Your subscriptions, your shares, and please, please, please. Hey, Patio, Patricia Stubbs, Dot, Cheryl. Please, everybody. When you go around the world this New Year's, leave positively and love everywhere you go. Thanks for watching, and happy arting, y'all. I'm typing. Ah. I'll see you on the internet.